I've done a couple videos on John Podesta's strange trip to Norway that he's made this week, and I pointed out how it hasn't gotten that much coverage in the mainstream media, nearly zero coverage, and even in the alternative media, there's very few people talking about this, despite this being a pretty big meeting. This is a meeting of globalist elites, business leaders, politicians, and in their words, civil society leaders, or some of the people meeting at this are Arendal Suka event in Norway. So it's not largely being discussed through most channels. I brought it up that normally when I do these live streams, the video takes about a few minutes to process. The video that I had on this topic, it took over 24 hours to process. So I don't know if there's some sort of censorship going on. Obviously, YouTube is cracking down on alternative media accounts. I made a video earlier today just letting people know that I'm on Steemit.com. That's Steemit.com/@realityreader. @realityreader is my name, and Steemit.com. I'm Chris on this channel. If you are not signed up, if you're signed up, if you could follow me, that's greatly appreciated. If you are not familiar with Steemit, I'm going to start posting on there. I'll still post my videos on this channel. But Steemit, it's something like an online forum. I'm sort of new to it. Other YouTubers have recommended it to me, but it is free to sign up, and it takes about a day to get confirmation. They'll send you a confirmation email, but you can sign up for free. And if you upvote and you can comment on my written blogs that I will post on Steemit, and it's actually possible for commenters to make Steemit dollars. It's like a cryptocurrency similar to Bitcoin. People, if you don't have that much technical knowledge, even it's pretty simple to get started, and it helps me out greatly on this other platform. Just in case I get pushed off of YouTube, who knows what's happening with these recent censorship crackdowns. And it actually ties into exactly what John Podesta's been publicly saying at this meeting. So I discussed this previously, that he was set to speak at this event, and he did speak yesterday. The actual video, it's over an hour and a half long, and I do have a link description of this video. I tried posting to the actual interview itself in the Steemit post, and it appears that it's been removed, possibly because the event has ended. I think you can still find the full interview on Facebook, but again, it's about an hour and a half long, so it's pretty long. Some of the things that stood out to me, I'm just going to read from this post, this write-up that I just did, but there were a few massive red flags around John Podesta this week. Of course, John Podesta, the failed ex-Clinton campaign manager, he took off to Norway for this Arendal Suka event, which is a high-profile annual meeting between Norway's elites. Norway is a country with massive political corruption, and just last year, multiple politicians were arrested for crimes, their involvement in child abuse rings as well. There's a great amount of bribery and it seems blackmail likely going on among Norway's elites, among their politicians. So it's a great potential for John Podesta to be involved in a lot of corruption with these meetings this week. Norway has also taken a lot of money, or they've been one of the top donors to the Clinton Foundation. They are deeply connected to the Clinton Foundation as well. Podesta was the featured guest at this particular speaking event. He just spoke yesterday, and what he focused on, he was mostly plotting with these fellow elite European globalists on how to influence public policy in the United States. The Democrats have sort of dropped the whole Russian hysteria narrative that seemed to crumble, but they were screaming collusion and treason. And here we have an unelected a politician, political figure, who was an aide to a failed presidential candidate that is meeting with EU members and European elites to undermine United States policy. John Podesta elaborated on his plans to censor and manipulate the internet and media, specifically to gain back Democrat support before the next election. This is one of the quotes that stood out from Podesta from this interview. He said, "We adopted the social media strategy that President Obama effectively used. which Bernie Sanders effectively used, which was to talk to their core supporters online, according to Podesta. But he says that they didn't have the reach, I guess, with a broader base, and he's blamed Clinton's failure also on the fact that they, quote, this is a quote from Podesta, left naked the ability, he says, on Facebook and other sites for negative messaging to bombard into those critical places. It's Podesta's words. He has since called for new censorship measures online and social media sites. I'm sure people are aware of the censorship crackdowns going on across social media. Facebook is absolutely complying with Democrats' demands for total control over the message. And this was one of the really revealing things that John Podesta has talked about, and he has asked for these crackdowns on social media in the past. But John Podesta, he has ties to over 8,000 mainstream news media organizations. I've brought that, I consistently have to bring that up when talking about John Podesta, but he's worked very hard over the years to gain a stranglehold over the mainstream media. He admits here, and he says it's the key failure of Clinton's campaign was the alternative media and the fact that negative messaging, basically the truth, bombarded into social media. So he wants to suppress that sort of information. That's part of this censorship crackdown. Again, I'm new to this Steemit site. It seems more decentralized than YouTube, and the fact that it's not connected to Google AdWords or anything, it does seem like it's a little bit more free, at least as far as the ability to freely speak about these sorts of issues. So again, you can comment on these posts on the Steemit article. The final question I have in regards to this EU meeting, or this meeting in Norway with these elites, they largely talked about issues regarding the EU. To me, this meeting, it's also an informal setting for globalists to plan. This is what they openly say, that it's an informal place for these elites to plot, basically. But in relation to that much of what Podesta is doing, we will not know. But in regards to what we do know, what he's officially publicly doing on this trip, from his own statements, they raise a number of questions. Besides controlling the media and climate policy, another thing they focused on at this meeting, the group also discussed how to stop further sovereignty movements, such as Brexit, which conflicted with the EU agenda of globalist politicians, businessmen, and civil society leaders attending. No matter, I mean, you're free to have whichever opinion, of course, on issues like Brexit, but I'm not sure that the answer is for these globalists to be plotting on how to subvert the opinion of sovereign nations. And I mean, this is quite clearly the exact type of collusion, much more dangerous collusion that people like Podesta never get called out for. So why is the failed candidate Hillary Clinton and her Clinton Foundation, along with this unelected ex-campaign head Podesta, why are they using this event to undermine American policy? And what is John Podesta really doing in Norway? Even his public statements raise a lot of questions, but again, this is supposed to be an informal setting, so there's probably a lot more, or there could be some more nefarious things being discussed at this meeting as well. So again, I have the link to this Steemit post in the description of this video. If you could leave a comment there, leave a comment on this video. Thanks for watching, for sharing the videos. I greatly appreciate just any sort of support. And finally, just remind people, I'm also on patreon.com. Patreon.com/realityreader. You could donate even $1 or $2. It makes a huge difference. Thank you so much to everybody that's donated on patreon.com/realityreader. Thanks, everyone. I'll follow up shortly. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks.